Hey, happy day. Day 516 of documenting my journey from the offline brick and mortar world, corporate America, to the online pajama grandma world. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as Pajama Grandma, in my super duper pajama grandma hair. This is definitely grandma hair, right? The old bun, the braided bun with the little wispy curls that really it's just the hair that was sticking out that I curled so it wouldn't look super ridiculous. Although it might look even more ridiculous with the wispy curls curled than they did when they were straight. I'm living in the 1980s of the big hair day, and I think it's because I had to wear my hair in a helmet for so many years that in a hairnet and a helmet and wear it up and back in corporate America and in the food business, the food industry, that I'm rebelling and I'm trying to hang on to my 1980s hair, which is ridiculous. On someone my age, that big old 1980s hair, even my nephew makes fun of me. He has since the 1980s for our big hair. I think it came from living in Texas for a few years, my sisters and I. And it was the time that the 70s and the 80s were the years of big hair. And now with the straight hairstyles, it's just something that we need to get used to. We don't need to, but we can, and we should get used to. So ball, cookie, and life. What the heck does that mean? Well, the idiom I shared today on my Supersize Your Business page was, that's the way the ball bounces, or that's the way the cookie crumbles. C'est la vie would be a similar French one, or the one that it triggered for me was my dad would always say, well, life isn't fair. He would always tell my sisters and I, when we were disappointed usually about something, well, life isn't fair. And normally when we're comparing ourselves to others or we're in competitions or things, and my sisters and I were in different competitions with things, lots of times with one another, and with, in high school and in school when you're going through different things, and in getting into colleges and whatever, we seem like in our society, we're pitted against other people all the time, and we're in competitions, competitions for boys, competition back in the day, not boys, we don't want to date boys anymore, right? Competition for sports, competition for, my sister was in a beauty competition, things like that. It seems like everything is a big competition. And so there's winners and there's losers. And when there's winners and losers, and there's always going to be, sometimes it feels like life isn't fair, right? It doesn't seem fair. Different people get promoted when you think that you should be promoted. People get credit for things that they don't do that you've done. There's all kinds of situations like that in the world that we could think of that don't feel fair, right? One person gets, wins the lottery, you don't. Is that fair? I don't know. Who cares? It doesn't matter if it's fair. And that's why I like I don't use the expression, but I don't think I've ever said to my children, that's just the way the ball bounces, or that's the way the ball bounces. I'm sure I did use my dad's life isn't fair when they were disappointed about things. But I think the life isn't fair is an often response to disappointment about things. But if I hear the expression, that's the way the cookie crumbles, to me, a crumbled cookie is just as good as a full cookie, right? Sometimes I actually break my cookies up. I broke a cookie up yesterday and made it into crumbles to eat it. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. And that's the way the ball bounces. Things that happen in life. Life is unpredictable. Things are going to happen. And it's our response, how we respond to that, how we react to things that really matters, right? Bad things and good things aren't really necessarily bad or good things. It's how we respond and react to those things that determines the direction, the trajectory, and how we experience our life. I've had really, really bad things happen to me in my life. I mean, you guys, I dropped dead. If you drop dead, I would think people would think that that is probably the worst thing. It's, most people's greatest fear that could possibly ever happen to you. And if I look back at that thing, that event, that is probably the best thing that has ever happened to me, because it allowed me to give myself finally permission to be who I want to be, to live the life that I want to live, and to be who I really am. Prior to that, I was just doing what I thought everybody else thought I should do. And did a lot of it make me happy? Some of it. Did a lot of it make me unhappy? Oh yeah, a lot of it made me really unhappy because I wasn't living consistently with who I really am as a human being and as a person. And when you're doing that, it creates a lot of stress and a lot of havoc, and it can actually kill you. So, like being unpredictable is a good thing, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like that. But think of how boring our lives would be if we always knew exactly what was going to happen. We build predictability into our lives. I have a morning routine. I have habits and rituals and things that I do every day because they give me a sense of security. But the days that I don't follow that routine or I mix it up, guess what? I survive those days just like I do the days with my habits and rituals and routines. And sometimes those days are even more fun and more exciting and turn out better than the days where everything goes like I had it planned or I want it to be or I think I want it to be. So we need to embrace the bouncing balls being unpredictable. We need to embrace the crumbled cookies. We need to embrace the things in life that we just don't have any control over and we're not going to change. And it doesn't mean that bad things happen and we just have to suck it up and put up with them. It just means we get to decide if things are good or bad and how they are or are not going to impact us. Really bad things can happen to us and we can spend years or decades trying to get over them or going to therapy or whatever and trying to make meaning and understand them. Or we can say, yep, that happened. Not sure why. I might ask myself and I might explore and I might figure out why. Or I might just let it go and move on with my life and create the future that I want. That's always up to us. So what I'm thinking about this morning as I'm sipping my coffee in my same mug as yesterday, because I'm trying to get a little more predictable in terms of, actually it was just closest and it's the same one I grabbed out of the dish racks. Sometimes I am predictable. I do what's easy. I do what I can with what I've got right now. And what I've got right now is the same cute little mug as yesterday. So sometimes we like routines and things to be the same every day. I know people, and sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'll go through a streak where I will use the same coffee or tea mug every day for a month. I know, hard to believe. And other days I have to have a different one every single day. It just depends on my mood and what I'm trying to create in myself and in my life. So what am I working on as I'm making my business journey? Of course, today, 90-day challenge. We're still in full swing of that. Today is day 56. Continuing the offer creation segment, the importance of creating an offer package. And I have 5 components in my offers and sometimes 7, but 5 is kind of my core offer number. It's like I want to make sure I hit all of these things in everything that I offer nowadays. Oh, I wish I would have known about this in my offline world. It would have made life a lot more predictable and my results, I'm sure, would have been dramatically increased in any business and any endeavor that I had, but I didn't know about it. So again, we do what we can with what we've got once we know about it. I can't remember who taught us this. Maybe Armin Morin is who I remember it from the first. I'm sure I heard it before that, but I remember Armin Morin saying I was actually on a Jim boat, the Jim Edwards cruises, and he was the speaker and he was talking about, now this is a grandma moment. I lost my train of thought. Oh, he was talking about, never mind. I'm not going to talk about that. I totally lost it. It was something about unpredictability and reacting to that. Anyway, yes, that was just a totally senior moment on film and in my podcast. I guess I'm a grandma, so that's okay. Do you ever do that? Do you ever forget someone's name? Somebody that you've known for a long time or somebody that you're really close to? Do you ever forget a thought or a concept that you're having? Now, I know a lot of people do, obviously I don't, do their content creation. This is content creation. Live videos and podcasts are content. And they actually have their notes and everything written out and planned what they're going to say. Obviously, I'm not one of those people, so I'm going to every once in a while totally lose what I was thinking because I come up with or I think of a story that was appropriate, and then, of course, I forget what the point of the story was. Don't worry, I do that in my real life. When I'm talking to the kids or to my relatives, I do that too. I'm like, yeah, I forgot why I was going to tell that story. Never mind. Fortunately, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. So the offer creation. It was something about offers. Offer creation. And today is all about a part of offer creation that actually almost nobody even talks about, much less includes in their sales process or includes in how they present their ideas in their marketing. Marketing is presenting your ideas to people so that they know that you exist. Not very many people even touch on this, and that is the internal dialogue or the internal thoughts, feelings, and beliefs about your product or service, and will it work for the perfect prospect or the person that you're presenting it to. They won't hardly ever say that to you. Okay, yeah, I see that this product works. Obviously, it works for other people. You got these huge television commercials going on, but will it work for me? And until the prospect answers the question satisfactorily to themselves so that they believe, yes, it works first, and then, yes, I can see that this is possible for me. I can get the result that you're saying I can get, and I know that I can do it. Until you bridge that gap for them, people aren't going to buy your product or service. They're not going to. If they can't see it working for themselves, they're not going to do it. That's why we have all these strange commercials about tie-ins to relationships and love and sex, because that's how people relate to, oh, I can see me getting that beautiful guy or that handsome man or that beautiful gal based on me using this product or service. You know, huge disconnect, but somehow people put themselves in that story. We put ourselves in the picture, in the commercial, in the book, in the movie as the heroine or hero, and that's how we actually experience and feel the story. And once you do that, once you speak to the inside doubts and fears and help people to know that they can do it too, and it will work for them, that is almost always the thing that will seal the deal, because it's those unsaid doubts, fears, worries, and concerns, those unshared objections and concerns about your product or service that prevent people from buying. So we're talking about that one today on the 90-day challenge. It's a biggie. It's a biggie. And again, like I said, I would say over 90% of the businesses and people that sell things don't address that. And if you don't address that, you're not going to get very far in your business. You can be super successful. Who are we kidding? Anybody can be successful in anything nowadays. But if you really want to amp up your success, speak to people's objections, which their internal objections are going to be the most important, because they're the ones that they're not going to tell you. They're not going to say, well, I don't think I can do this. I don't think anyone has ever told me, I don't think I can do this out loud. They might let me know in their words and in their expressions, and then I can actually address, okay, helping them to understand and know how they absolutely can do it. Because there's nothing I do that everybody on the planet couldn't possibly do. Nothing. I don't think there's anything that everybody else or anybody else who wants to couldn't do. I really don't. You know, we all think that we're so unique and so special and so different, and our circumstances and our experience have been so different. And yes, they are different, but there are still similarities that allow us to learn from other people and succeed in ways that we never imagined possible, because other people have shown us the way. So working on that today. My beautiful granddaughter had a sleepover last night, so she will be waking up any minute. So I'm going to hop in and do my 90-day challenge videos. I do 2 videos every day when I do a challenge. I do the challenge instruction, the lesson itself, and then I actually go in and I do the challenge as a participant, because I use that as a demo to say, okay, well, this is what you could do for this. Now, do some of my demos suck? Oh my God, yes. So I think that's a good example for people too, because guess what? Everything we do in a challenge might not be stellar. The first time we do something, it might not be amazing. Imagine that. It might not be amazing the first time we do something. Well, you know, were you amazing the first time you tried to walk? Probably not. Ask your parents if they're still alive. Were you amazing the first time you tried to do anything? I used to love to make cookies, right? I love cookies. I think that's why I like the expression, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And every night after school in high school, for like a year, I made a different kind of cookies every night. Number 1, to feed my sisters. Number 2, because it was fun. Number 3, because I like to cook and I like to learn how to make different recipes without using recipes. Or I like to cook different things without using recipes. It was just a phase I was going through. And so I would make a different kind of cookies every single day. And it was fun. It was a fun experiment. But it allowed me to learn and hone a skill and practice. The first couple of times that I tried to not use a recipe, I think my sisters thought I was trying to poison them. They weren't delicious. They didn't always work. Sometimes they were epic failures. But I kept trying until I got really, really good at it. And that's actually, I think, probably how I learned to cook without using recipes. Now, I used to read cookbooks too. I know that's probably weird, but I would read cookbooks. I loved reading cookbooks. And so I would read cookbooks, and pretty soon after you read, you know, a couple hundred cookbooks and you practice and you do something, you get really good at it. So, but the first time you do anything, you're not awesome at it. I mean, I was telling my granddaughter the other day, she's afraid for swimming lessons. And my sisters and I were scared to death of swimming lessons. I mean, I think I probably flunked beginning swimming lessons, you know, a handful of times until my dad and his friends installed a pool in our yard. And then that summer, my middle sister and I, we actually passed like all the levels of swimming lessons because we weren't afraid anymore. And once you're not afraid of something, it's amazing what you can accomplish. Go out, make it an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Sorry about the alarm. I forget to shut them off sometimes when I'm on a roll and talking a lot. I hope your day is absolutely spectacular. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form, if you have any questions, need a connection to somebody, hit me up in the messages or the comments below, and I would be glad, delighted, and excited to help you out in any way, shape, or form I can. Have an absolutely fantastic day. Catch you tomorrow. Bye.